All right, everybody, we are live here in Let's Talk Lake County. I'm your host, David Rich. Got a special guest on tonight, Alexandria Keating-Sofiakis, right?
Yep.
Okay, good.
You nailed it, and you tried a lot harder than other people. Thank you very much.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, of course. My last name is R-Y-C-H, and everybody says Reich, and it's Rich. I'm like, no, no Nazism here, guys. Sorry.
Thank you for correcting me. I pronounced it incorrectly when I was telling my mom.
Oh, that's fine, no problem. I've had worse things happen to me in life. Okay, so thanks for coming on, because I just discovered you by watching the episode that you were on with the Illinois Green Party series with Edie, and she took the show over from me. I did that show for like 3.5 years, and she took it over. She's doing a great job. Oh, you're frozen again. Oh, okay. And I was watching it, and yeah, you're good. And I was thrilled to see you on there again, because I've been looking for a local Green Party member to come on this show and tell Lake County about the Green Party. So yeah, here we are. And so how about just like a quick briefing of like how you got involved in the Green Party in the first place, and then politics secondly.
Oh, geez. Green Party in general, as far as volunteering, I voted for them a couple times in the past. I started volunteering roughly 5 months ago. I started getting pretty animated around some of the recent stuff going on, and I just know the history of this district and the elections that the Democrat was likely going to win, and I tend to consider myself, from the American perspective, traditionally kind of further to the left of them as far as especially peace internationally is concerned. So I immediately got started volunteering with them, trying to get them on the ballot. Unfortunately, that didn't work out. Obviously, participated in the writing campaign, trying to spread the word about that. And seeing Schneider win so thoroughly again made me realize congressional districts are concerned that there had only been 50 votes ever cast for a non-Republican or a Democrat.
Wow. Frozen up a little.
Get some start. So, where did it freeze off at?
It's just kind of freezing here sporadically and briefly, but you're good. Yeah, no, it was to say the least an interesting election cycle. And the outcome is more disappointing if it would have gone the other way, which still would have been disappointing. But yeah, it's this lesser of two evils nonsense. But I mean, talking about world peace and war and stuff like that. Yeah, you're going to get that from both sides of the duopoly. It's not going to change. So what are you going to do? Okay, and you are an official member of the Green Party, right? You're not merely a volunteer.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Still waiting for my card in the mail because I only started being.
Say that again, please. You froze a little.
Mail, but otherwise I've been paying member for about a month now. That was a bit more recent.
Oh, okay. Okay, well that's cool. And have you been able to meet people in the coordinating committee, Anna Schieffelbein and Chris and all those guys, Ginny?
Yeah. I've met them online multiple times, and I actually got to see them all downtown when we went to that. I forgot what it's called, but there was a whole Green Party concert. Got to meet.
That's cool. All right, very cool. And you are planning on running for District 10 representative in the next election, the midterm elections, right? Against Brad Schneider?
There now.
What's that?
All right. You froze up for a second. You repeat that.
Oh, I froze up?
Yeah.
Maybe it's my laptop. Oh, let me go inside. Maybe the Wi-Fi doesn't come out here already.
I'm like, it could be me as well, because my computer is not the fanciest.
Okay, well, we can remedy this because I'm using my tablet. So, the thrills of modern technology.
Right. Yeah. I just closed a couple of my windows, so hopefully that'll help too.
Okay, cool. All right, let's do this here.
Because I had a reference doc just in case I need to link it for any of my citations.
Gotcha. I want my stuff. All right, cool. This will have to do for now. So okay, cool. So what inspired you to like? Okay, so you joined the Green Party recently, and then now you're hitting the ground running, and you want to run for District 10 against Brad Schneider.
Mhm.
What impelled you to do that specifically?
Well, for this area and seeing someone who makes me kind of feel afraid, quite frankly. I mean, not to ancestry, and so seeing someone who's so pro giving this nation weapons that are destroying a bunch of Orthodox churches in Gaza that have stood for thousands of years and seen many violent empires. I mean, the Abbasids, the Mamluks, the Fatimids, the Ottomans, who literally explicitly were committing 3 genocides against 3 different ethnic Christian groups that simultaneously, the Assyrians, the Greeks specifically, and seeing him being so like that, and often the congressional for equating anti-Semitism growing up, basically trying to call me an anti-Semite, it put a fear in my heart that made me worried, and I just sort of sat on it for a moment and realized I need to not be afraid. I need to be brave and start something. And I don't have any optimism that any adequate opposition to the things I'm worried about are going to come from the Republican side. And when I, again, looked at the history of this district and saw there had been so little effort to any third party or independent movement whatsoever, it really bummed me out, especially because, I mean, we're in a really privileged place up here. We're like sort of halfway between Chicago and Milwaukee. And I mean, just within a mile of my house alone, I can name over 70 species that I see, and yet at the same time walk to the Milwaukee North line in less than half an hour. So it's a very privileged place to live in, and I think it should have stellar representation, quite frankly. And I don't consider myself the best person in the world, but when I saw their track record and how poor it was, I was like, well, I may be super critical of myself, but I do believe I can do better than that.
Well, okay, well that's good. Yeah, no. That's why somebody should run from offices, because they can do better than the incumbent. Well, that's good. And I know that traditionally, I mean, this is like his 4th or 5th term or something like that. Like he's one, like I don't know how much people actually pay attention to like congressional candidates like that. I mean, the whole country is just obsessed with the presidency. And if you look at, I mean, the actual like allocation of duties and an authority that the president have compared to Congress, it's really not much. And that's why, but we treat the president like they're a monarch. Like for example, I was having this conversation the other day about like, how people put the economy as number 1 when it comes to the president. Now, think about it. If a first-term president could influence the economy as greatly as people think they can, then every first-term president would do that because they would be guaranteed to win the next election. The fact of the reason why they don't is because they really just can't. The relationship between the president and the entire economy is not nearly as directly causal as people think it is. It's very, very tenuous and weak. Congress would have more influence on the economy because they set laws of taxation and standards of taxation and so on. And they allocate money. They have the power of the purse, it's called. So, I mean, yeah, so it's unfortunate. So, yeah, so I hope people keep that in mind that when they're voting for the president, you need to make the economy, if at all, on the list of priorities, like way down there on the list. It's just not a real, genuine factor. It's just not. So, okay, things like the environment and global international relations, that's usually where the president kind of like is the figure of that. So well, that's cool. What kind of things would you change in Lake County or bring to Lake County for that matter?
Well, for one, I would try and bring more humane representation to all communities. I would not be portraying protests outside my own house, which aren't violent and aren't anti-Semitic, as anti-Semitic. I would hold regular meetings with my own constituents. Brad Schneider can be a bit hard to actually get in contact with, somewhat ironically enough. Same with our senators, but I'm not running against them. That's a whole different story. And also they represent the whole state, so they have a bit of a better excuse. And then on top of that, also, and this might sound off egotistical to some, but like I can't really be bought out in the same way that Brad Schneider can. I'm not taking millions from super PACs. I would refuse any super PACs. I'm running currently as an unemployed college student who, like, I'm not about being greedy. I'm not about hoarding all the money. I'm about trying to actually represent the constituency. I'm about trying to bring about like equality and like protect our environment, like I've been sort of emphasizing earlier, and just in general, bringing back some integrity to politics in general, being honest, showing my sources when I make a claim, showing my script for a speech when I'm going to give it, and stuff like that, and actually trying to communicate with people. I think the most ambitious thing that I've got right now is that, unlike Schneider, I want to, before the election comes up, knock on every single door in the county, or not in the county, in the district. And so that's over 300,000 voters, which is a lot of households. So, but the only thing he ever did was circle around the outside. That was the outline of the Congress. And he only does that every election cycle. Part of the reason why I'm starting now is that I want to sort of disprove, well, one, a big myth that Greens only show up for the presidential year. That's not true. And I'm going to prove that obviously with my own running, but also two, to sort of counter most people who are in Washington and career Washingtonians, career politicians, as people like to say, is that I'm not just going to show up in an election year. I'm going to try and be knocking on doors next year. It started January or February and stuff in a non-election year, and still just trying to ask you, hey, you need anything done or anything like that? And even if I don't win, I'm going to record everything that people tell me and send it to whoever does win, So
nice.
That's a good approach.
Yeah. That's very cool. Yeah, that was one of the things I loved about when I interviewed Hillary, is that she had that same sort of disposition about like communicating with the public, and kind of like you said, she's the only politician that you know of that in your experience came to your door.
Mm-hmm.
She went to a lot of doors and she barely lost. It broke my heart. It was a few hundred votes. I'm like, no, she's so wonderful. I don't know much about.
It was like a curse. It was like one of the few Democrats I did vote for lost.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think the party flags at local levels are different than the party flags at the state and federal level. I would say that. You can do a lot of good. I mean, I know a lot of local Republicans that are perfectly fine people. They're not wackadoodle MAGA people or anything like that. So I know some of those too. But yeah, it's a different situation at the local level. So that's very cool. My understanding is that, okay, so you heard about, Crystal Larson?
No.
Okay, I need to connect you to, because she's fabulous. She's the Avon Township clerk, and she's amazing. Yeah, you should know her. Anyway, that was a tangent. There's some difficult. What really concerns me the most about Trump's, group of disciples is that, right? Because it is a cult. It is a cult. Is that the amount of harassment and just brutality and violence that rose in his first term? Because there's another thing, kind of like this ethereal thing, esoteric thing that happens with a president, is that they sort of shine out a certain set of qualities that the people that share those qualities come out of the woodwork during their term, because they think that they're allowed to now. And I'm afraid that that's going to happen. It's already happening, actually. People are already getting harassed and stuff like that. And, I couldn't even imagine what would happen if he lost the election, if they, burned down the White House or something like that. And it's just, it's difficult. Are you concerned at all with whatever demographics you belong to being targeted by this new regime?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, as I mentioned before, a part of my Greek ancestry and stuff like that. I mean, one of the things that a lot of people did tell me when I was speaking out against the Democrats is that, hey, look at what the Republicans are saying. They're even more vehemently pro-arming that genocide, or that I would at least consider a genocide. I know a lot of people would take that word controversially, but that's how I feel about it, just based on comparing it to my own ancestors' history. I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
Do you feel that you're a part of any demographic or group that would be targeted by?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, on multiple levels. For one, just sort of my transness, obviously, they have a pretty good history of being pretty messed up about that. And especially, it's really disturbing how they try and equate transness with a lot of like sexual crimes and stuff like that, especially given their own party's history, especially their own representatives. I mean, these are the people that nominated Matt Gaetz. So it's frustrating to see that and exactly and see that, especially just because like, not to get too TMI in the science, but anybody who takes HRT, that lowers your testosterone. That makes you think about it less. Like,
interesting. Yeah.
It's so that's the whole thing. I mean, also I'm a student, and they're not exactly very happy. Good teachers are giving, teachers unions any respect or anything like that. So that's also going to be affecting me. And also somewhat young. They're not exactly generation. Same when it comes to jobs. I know for my entire life.
Raise it up a little.
Economically, but not stable. And so if you're not rich, if you're not rich and white, I don't think Trump's going to help you, quite frankly. I think everybody who's outside of that demographic is either intentionally or unintentionally going to be getting hit with more economic hardship, more bullying, more arrogance, more racism, etc.
Yeah, you can pretty much count on all that happening.
Actually, yeah, a good example I thought of recently was I was playing some Greek music in my garage, as I often do, and someone gave me this look that I could tell was very angry, and I might be reading into their own mind for a bit, but they said something Islamophobic walking away, and my input on that is that, they couldn't tell the difference between Greek and Muslim music, because Greece is, near the mid. Music does sound very Middle Eastern. Interestingly enough, some fun side history thing, ancient Greek music has a lot of they didn't connect or anything like that. But so I just think people be so reactionary and arrogant. Another example I can think of, actually not to go on too many examples, but somebody on the opposite side tore down a Greek flag at a Greek restaurant, apparently, because they thought it was an Israeli flag because it's blue and white. And so, you're gonna, in general, people are just a lot more tense and a lot more heated and a lot more willing to bully, quite frankly.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's true. It's terrifying. Along with the whole Project 2025 insanity. But there was a poll taken that I read about recently where people were asked, do you think we should use Arabic numerals in our mathematics? And like over 51% no, because they see the word Arabic. And they're like, well, that's just what we use, folks. Our numerals come from Arabic. So, stuff like that. It's just like, whoa. Okay. They just yeah, it's
the definition of shameless. I don't know what it is.
It's definitely a prime example. What are you studying in school? Where do you go?
I go to CLC. Currently, I'm going in for writing. Previously, I was going into political science, but given my expectations of what I think representatives should know or learn in college, if you were to particularly aim for that as a career, that's very high, and I ended up burning myself out just reading about the genocides and the war crimes and the destruction of the environment, putting all that pressure on me to be like, okay, if all of this rests on me, what can I do? So that really burnt me out, and so I ended up going into writing because I've always loved gaming and world design.
Oh, nice, neat. Yeah, that's cool. No, writing,
sort of my main comfort.
Yeah, no, English, writing. I mean, these are great. Humanities and liberal arts studies for sure. They're probably because they teach you how to think and stuff like that. I mean, there are certain majors or degrees that like they almost entirely lack like any sort of like teaching of critical thinking skills. And I have a philosophy degree. It's all critical thinking skills, which is very cool.
Our most recent assignment was a lateral reading thing, and I'm like, a lot of people, don't even do that. So that was great. I was glad to see that on the course.
That's neat. That's really cool. Very cool. All right, and I started my collegiate career at CLC. I didn't want to leave. Like I kept taking more classes just so I could stick around. Because just I'm actually just reacquainted myself with my favorite philosophy teacher from CLC, and we've been hanging out and chatting, talking philosophy and stuff, which is it's really cool. CLC is a wonderful place.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it really is. Very cool. I don't want to keep you too long, and I also don't want to. I told Edie I promised not to compete with her show since you're a Green Party member. Not that I don't know if there's any overlap in our viewerships, but just in case. Okay, well, great. And do you have you? I found you on Facebook, and so people can reach out to you safely through there if they want to get to know who Alexandria is and connect with you when you start campaigning.
Just this morning, actually, I finally got around to making my specific campaign accounts for Instagram, Blue Sky, and Twitter. So if you just look up Alexandria Keating-Sofiakis with the hyphen between Keating and Sofiakis, you'll find me on any there. I believe on Twitter, my handle is Sofiakis Green. And on Blue Sky and Instagram, again, just look up the other one. And those will probably be the best ways to contact me. I admittedly do not check my Facebook.
Oh, okay.
So that might not be the best way to get in touch with me, admittedly.
All right.
I am planning to start a YouTube channel for the campaign as well, but that's when once I have something interesting to share or a good report or something like that. So I'm cooking some stuff up there.
Okay, cool. Have you met Joe Kopsick yet?
Yes, yeah. Well, not in person, but we've emailed and we're going to be meeting actually later in December. So he's been talking about trying to restart the chapter here, and I'm really excited to try and help if I can.
Yeah, for sure. Very cool. All right, great. Anything else you want to say before we wrap it up here? Anything you want to plug? You don't have to.
No, I think that's it. Other than the plugs I just gave. Please weekly volunteer meetings if you're interested in getting involved. Even if you're not interested in voting for the Greens, I think it's really healthy to help third parties, even if you don't intend to vote for them, just for the electoral process. And yeah, thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming on. Alexandria Keating-Sofiakis. Thank you so much. Let's have you back on as you develop within your campaign and see what's going on, okay?
Awesome. Take care.
All right, you too. Take care, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to Let's Talk Lake County. See you next time. Have a lovely, lovely holiday. Bye. All right. Hold on a second there, Alexander.